I've been listening to you for a couple of years, and I've had some dramatic, undeniable demonstrations of what you teach, and it's incredibly enticing, and I'm looking forward for more. Today, I have a question that I've not heard in any of your previous recordings. I'm a physician, retired, and through some contrast a number of years ago, I had the opportunity to learn a lot about energetic healing as a patient, and subsequently have become an energy worker and do energetic healing for others. Good. In my training in two different disciplines, my teachers have told me in general terms to look for what they consider to be entities or some sort of vibrational thing attached to people's energies. And I've come this way to ask infinite intelligence to please help me in understanding what those things are that I find in my own field and in others, and how can I best prevent those things from burdening myself and those people that I help.
Well, it's not as dire or unpleasant or scary as it seems, because what you're really talking about is what we were just talking about, contradicted vibration. Every thought that you think is vibrational and therefore attractive in nature. And if you think it enough, it gathers more and more momentum until it becomes a thought form. A belief is only a thought that you continue to think. So when you think thoughts, any thoughts about something wanted or thoughts about something unwanted, and you're steady in the thought, then the momentum gathers until someone who has those perceptive abilities, who can translate energy into form, then maybe could see that collection of that thought. But we don't want to call it an entity in the sense that it has power of assertion in your experience. It doesn't. Nothing can assert itself in your experience. There's only power of attraction. There's only the law of attraction or the law of inclusion. There's no exclusion. When you say no to something, you're actually saying yes to it. And so, if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would not focus upon what you're trying to get rid of, whether it's a thought form or evidence of momentum about something unwanted. We would not ever push against something, because there's no such thing as no. You see something you want, you say yes to it, you include it in your vibration. You see something you don't want and you shout no at it, you include it in your vibration. So we wouldn't be spending much time at all pushing anything away. Instead, we'd be talking about what it is you want to include. We'd be helping them to get focused upon what they do want. And it's not as difficult as it might seem, because this vortex that we were describing to you earlier, it has within it the energy that creates worlds. It's a very powerful energy. But when you contradict it and don't let it in, and you've been doing so over a long period of time, the very power of what's calling you is felt by your resistance to it. Illness could not exist if the force for wellness were not so strong. And the calling you toward wellness is so strong that if you're not aware of it, or if you are resisting it in some way, then the more you've asked for wellness, then the more the resistance to it shows up in the form of what you want to call illness. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. We don't, in those teachings that I've been through, we don't really focus on them much, and I think perhaps that's why we don't focus on them much.
We wouldn't give them a name. We wouldn't call them attachments. We wouldn't call them entities. We would say, you're like a train on a track, and the ground is level, and when you want something, you put an engine that way, and when you worry about it, you put an engine that way. And if you put enough engines that way, it's going to show up in your vibration. And at first, it's going to just show up in your vibration, and eventually, it's going to show up in terms of manifestation. That's all.
The last piece of this is when I notice that I am not in a very good mood, it occurs to me that perhaps there are some things invested in my field, be them thought forms or habitual ideas.
For sure. No question.
But it seems to directly affect my vibrational point of attraction through my mood, and that's what I'm trying to get to.
Your mood is your indicator of what your point of attraction is.
Yes.
In other words, your mood doesn't create anything. It just indicates. That's like saying, my gas tank gauge is the reason I don't have any gas in my car. You say, no, it isn't. It's just showing you don't have any gas in your car. The reason you don't have any gas in your car is because you didn't put any gas in your car, or you used the gas that you had. You haven't gone back to the replenishing pump, you see. And that's what this connection to this vibration of who you really are is. Step 3 is the receptive mode, but it's also the replenishing mode. And so often people worry about this, and they 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 offer so much action trying to compensate for energy that they didn't flow. One of the things that we've really been talking about lately, and some people are beginning to hear it and be inspired to some different behavior because of it. When you quiet your mind, really quiet your mind, you stop thought. And when you stop thought, the resistance for the time of stopping the thought subsides. And when that resistant thought subsides, then there is a greater opportunity for the receptive mode thought to gather a little momentum. That's why meditation is such a powerful tool. So once you quiet your mind and you have no thought, we'll talk in a little bit if you're interested about how to do that, then what happens is this subtle but powerful, subtle because you're not really tuned into it yet, thought becomes more and more part of your awareness. But it's a vibrational awareness. It's like, well, when you meditate, the easiest way to get there is to focus upon something that doesn't require much thought. Don't focus on a problem and try to solve it. That will keep the problem active. But focus upon something that does not require much thought. Esther just purchased a clock for her desk, and it ticks. She hasn't had a ticking clock in quite a while. And she can hear it. So she put it right close to where she's sitting to meditate, and she just focuses upon that. Well, it requires some attention to focus upon that, which means her mind can't not wander around on other things at the same time. And within just a few very short ticks, she can feel her detachment from this physical environment. And that's really what you're reaching for, is a detachment from. In other words, if you were witnessing someone visually, if you could watch someone with your ability to see what you were calling entities that we are calling vibrations, if you were watching them while they went into this state of meditation, you would see those active, whatever it is that you are seeing, you would see them dissipate. You would see them become less active, because it's only attention to the subject that is causing them to be active or to gain momentum at all. If you could watch someone as they are going to sleep, you would witness the same thing. So as you quiet your mind, what happens is you allow this dominant part of you, where all of your desires are purely tended, you would allow that to become the dominant part of your experience. And when that happens, then as you come back out of your meditation, back into your physical awareness, often just before you come back in, you begin to be aware, or we like to call it receive, some thoughts or impulses. And when your thought or impulse comes from that vibrational environment, it's always a thought or an impulse that will serve you in terms of what you really want. If your thought or impulse comes from a place where your mood is negative, then it usually not only does not serve you, it usually perpetuates the very thing that has been bothering you. And so we've been saying to our friends, make a decision to meditate on Sunday, and it'll take you 15 minutes, maybe 20. We wouldn't set aside more than 20 minutes. But as you quiet your mind, it might take you 10 or 11 or 12 or 13 minutes to even get to the place where you are feeling some detachment. But that's enough. Once you feel that detachment, then your work in your meditation, which is progressive, by the way, has been done. So then get out into your world and take life as it comes to you, because you have no choice. Life is going to come at you as your point of attraction dictates. Don't squirm around in it. Don't try to think your way out of it. Don't try to convince anybody of anything, because you're not going to be able to. Just let life come at you, and it will come, and it will demonstrate what your current point of attraction is. So let it happen, because why? You haven't got any other choice. Oh, you could go back and meditate again, but we would wait until Monday morning. And then we'd meditate and we'd get into that vibration of non-awareness. And then as the impulse comes, we'd go out into our day and we'd go as far as we could go. Let life come at you because it will, because you are attracting it. But the good news is all the time that contrasting experiences or not contrasting experiences are coming to you, in other words, wanted and unwanted, you are shoring up your vortex with even more affirmation. And so then meditate on Tuesday and go as far as you can go into the day, and then meditate on Wednesday and go as far as you can go into the day, and meditate on Thursday. And after a week or two of this, what you begin to notice is your mood is really improved, because your dilution of the pure positive energy and the perspective of who you really are is making some headway into your day-to-day vibrations. We want to offer to you a statement that you probably will not want to hear from someone like Abraham, who has been in your mind perhaps a proponent of positive thought. But when you are over here in this manifested part of your life experience and you're trying to think your way out of something, you can't get there from there, because the thoughts that are coming to you are the same resistant thoughts that you've already got going on. But when you quiet your mind, you see, you didn't put your desire to sleep, you just put your resistance to sleep when you meditated. Your desire, which is being tended by your inner being, still remains powerful and active. And so you just get more receptive and more receptive, which leads us to the most powerful statement that we want to make to you about how your vibrations turn to thoughts and your thoughts turn to things. You've got to wonder how it is that you create your own reality. You are a vibrational being, but you must learn to manage the vibration of your being, which means your mood and your awareness of your mood is really, really important. So let's say that you're moving through your day and something happens and it hits you in a strong way. In other words, it is annoying at least and really awful at most. And maybe you're enraged, maybe you feel powerless, or maybe you're just overwhelmed. In other words, there's quite a range of negative emotion. But as that resistance is showing itself to you by that emotion that wells up in you, and then you have an impulse to say something or to do something, we just want you to know that it's not going to be a good impulse and it's not going to have a good outcome. In fact, we've written several books. A book, Ask and It Is Given. In the back of it, there are 22 processes that can help soften those moments, but they usually don't fix those moments. You could even behave yourself and not say what you really feel like saying. Well, that is an improvement. Or you could reach for the best feeling thought that you can find. But we want to say to you, the best feeling thought that you can find from that place of rage is not a very good feeling thought. In fact, it's so much the same as the thought that you're already thinking that there's not a whole lot of improvement in it. You'd be better to just walk away or take a nap. So what we're really getting at is, once you have momentum going enough that you're feeling strong emotion about it, you can't get there from there. But you could take a vibrational approach to it, and first chance you get, you could quiet your mind. You could sit in a comfortable room and wear comfortable clothing. It's better if there's not anything going on in the room. It's better if it's quiet, so that you can focus upon the ticking of a clock or the dripping of a faucet, or even watch the flicker of a flame in a candle, or count your own breaths going in or out. Or Esther sometimes will listen to a sound in the air conditioner in the room, something that she can focus upon. And once you focus upon it, after a little while, you will feel that those thoughts that are attractive in nature are becoming less and less momentous as the momentum of them is subsiding, as the activity of your mind is ceasing. And then, now, you are in the better position to receive an impulse that will really serve you. That really is the entire process of meditation. Quiet your mind by focusing upon something not very important. So take away from this part of our conversation, you can't get there from there. So stop trying to talk other people into things that you want them to know, because they're not.